Also, as a nation, we can't go through this again. There was competition among states. There were competition among private entities to get this equipment. The federal government was trying to buy it. I'm bidding on behalf of New York. We're bidding against other states, Texas, California, other states across the country are trying to buy the same masks from the same vendor. We literally wound up bidding up the price. I'm have people in China. I'm trying to contact people in China who can figure out how to buy masks from China. It was totally inefficient and ineffective. State of Massachusetts, Governor Baker was good enough to work with Robert Kraft, who had a personal airplane that he sent to China to get masks. And Massachusetts was good enough to give us some of the masks that a private airplane picked up. I mean, this is not the way to deal with this situation, right? Plus, we just drove up prices by our own competition. There was a limited supply. It was primarily in China. And then you have 50 states and all these private entities and the federal government trying to buy from China. It made no sense. So let's fix that. New York State alone buys about $2 billion of medical supplies this year. $2 billion this year. And that's one state. And that's us purchasing from China and around the world. We're going to form a consortium with our 7 Northeast partner states, which buy about $5 billion worth of equipment and supplies. That will then increase our market power when we're buying. And we will buy as a consortium, price as a consortium for PPE equipment, ventilators, medical equipment, whatever we need to buy when you put all those hospitals together, all that public health capacity together, which will make us more competitive in the international marketplace. And I believe it will save taxpayers money. I also believe it'll help us actually get the equipment, because we have trouble still getting the equipment and just buying the equipment, because these vendors on the other side, they're dealing with countries, they're dealing with the federal government. Why should they do business with one state, right, when they can do business with an entire country? So this consortium, I think, will help us get the equipment and get it at a better price. We will come up with a regional identification of all the equipment we need. Basically, it's all standard equipment. A mask is a mask, a gown is a gown. Let's come up with the total amount that we need. Let's stop doing business with vendors who we found to be irresponsible, and we found out the hard way. I can't tell you how many orders we placed with vendors who were acting basically as brokers, who just started businesses in the middle of this pandemic because they saw an opportunity. So let's compare notes among the states to find out who was good to do business, who was not good to do business with. Let's see if we can't do the purchasing in this country, and let's see if we can't do the purchasing in this region. You know, why are we buying all this material from China? Literally billions of dollars of PPE. And we'll do it in coordination with the federal government. But I want to thank our neighbors, our neighboring states. The word neighbor has a different connotation. You don't normally think of the surrounding states as neighbors. You think of the person next door as a neighbor, but they are neighbors. And they've acted as neighbors. I can't tell you how supportive Governor Murphy in New Jersey and Governor Lamont in Connecticut and all the other governors in our coalition have been. Literally, where you can pick up a phone and I can say, I need help with masks. Do you have any extra masks? Do you have any extra gowns? Can I borrow this? Can I borrow that? Really, the way you would deal with a neighbor in an extraordinary circumstance, right? You'd knock on the door and say, can I borrow this? That's how these states responded. And it was really a beautiful, generous way of operating that was an inspiration to me. You know, it wasn't, I'll have my lawyer call your lawyer. It was, whatever I can do, I'll do. And in that spirit, we want to keep that coalition together, and we want to work together. We're doing regional planning now on the reopening, because every state is linked to every other state. We do something in New York, it affects New Jersey, Connecticut, Delaware, et cetera. People are very mobile right now. So it's a very important relationship for us, both productively and from an efficiency point of view. And they have been great. And they're joining us today. We have Governor Phil Murphy with us, Governor Ned Lamont, Governor Tom Wolf, and Governor John Carney. And we'll start with our neighbor from the great state of New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy. How are you, Governor Murphy?
Be on with you. I will be brief and say I echo literally everything you've said, including the comments on the positive in terms of what this has been like, the deficiencies, as well as the inspiration which was derived from our neighbors, and notably beginning with you and all the other governors who are on this with us today. It has been truly an inspiration. So on behalf of the 9 million of us in New Jersey, I say thank you. You know, we are in the same boat. We're begging, borrowing, and bartering for equipment, PPE, ventilators, etc. We're still doing it. Someone said to me a couple of days ago that gowns have become the new ventilators. And so we're still out there. And so the notion of coordinating together as a region makes enormous amount of sense. So sign me up and sign New Jersey up. We've moved in New Jersey alone 21 million pieces of PPE in the past 2 months, a line of business we weren't even beforehand. And so this makes so much sense, and really look forward. Again, as you suggested, we coordinated actively as we closed our governments. We now have a regional council that includes not just the governors on today, but also Rhode Island and Massachusetts. This is a perfect extension of that relationship. And I echo one of your comments that not only should we not have to be scouring the world for this, but it ought to be made in the USA, and better yet, made in our states, made in this region. And so that's something that I think we all want to strive for. We're doing that in New Jersey. We want to try to figure out a way to make this stuff here. And lastly, and you said this, but to repeat, we've all got to do within our own four walls what we need to do. The regional cooperation matters so much, and another great example of that. I think it's a brilliant extension of our ongoing cooperation. And then lastly, none of this is in lieu of the partnership with the federal government. As you rightfully point out, we have to do all of the above. What's good for our own citizens, what's good for the region, and work seamlessly with the federal government every step of the way. So thank you for having me on today. Thank you for the extraordinary partnership to you, Governor Cuomo, and to each of my fellow governors in this group, and really looking forward to working with you in the better days ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Governor Murphy. I think the governors on this phone, we've learned so much about PPE over the past few weeks. I think we can go make gowns ourselves at this point. I think we've learned now. Give us some sewing machines. I think we can actually contribute. So thank you very much, Phil. God bless you, and stay well. And anything you need, we're here. Thank you. We'll go now to Governor Lamont, great state of Connecticut. Governor Lamont, thank you very much for being with us, and thank you for all you've done, not just for the people of Connecticut, but for the entire Northeast. Good to be with you, Ned.
And back at you, Andrew. I want to tell you, speaking on behalf of Connecticut, New York, and Andrew Cuomo has been a very good neighbor for us. And as you know, we got into this together. We realized what we had to do when it came to closing down parts of our service economy. We did that together. We're opening it up together, and that's the way it works best. And as you point out, when it comes to the purchasing, look, we've learned something, right? We can wait for the national stockpile. We can wait for that plane to land from China. Let's see what we can do ourselves. And as you point out, we're much stronger together. I wouldn't mind having some of that New York purchasing power. Thanks for sharing that with Connecticut going forward. And just as importantly, what we can produce together as well. I mean, Phil Murphy, you got that amazing pharmaceutical industry there in New Jersey. Help us out with the reagents. And what we can do in terms of gowns from being produced in Rhode Island, what we can all do together to make sure that this next round, we control more of our own destiny. And to those that say, where have you been? And you're ordering up all the Christmas trees and they're going to arrive on December 26th. I say, I'm afraid this is still just beginning, as you pointed out, Governor Cuomo. And we're planning for the next round of this, if there is a next round, making sure that we control our own destiny going forward. We do it much better together. Thanks for getting us together, Andrew.
No, my pleasure. Thank you very, very much, Governor. And you're right. Look, we're spending billions of dollars. Why not buy from our own vendors in our own region? Why are we buying from China, right? I'm sure there are a lot of businesses within our own states that if they knew they had that kind of purchasing that they were looking at, that they would either adapt their businesses or grow their businesses so we could buy from them. Plus, you're right, we would control our own destiny rather than everyone trying to figure out how to buy from China. So thank you very much, Governor Lamont. God bless you. We're here. Thank you. Let's go now to Governor Wolf from Pennsylvania. Good to be with you, Tom. Thank you very much for everything you've been doing.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a great neighbor to the state of New York and all your surrounding states.
Thank you, Governor Cuomo. Thank you very much for organizing this. Again, a few weeks ago, we all got together and announced that we were going to work together to fight this pandemic. We said then that by working together, we can do a lot more than we can do if each of us works on our own. And I think today is a specific example of that. We can work together to buy the things that we need to allow our healthcare system to have the capacity it needs to fight this fight. We need to help our hospitals. We need to help our healthcare workers. We need to help our long-term care facilities, our first responders, all those things. And what you're doing here and what we're doing is actually pulling together to make sure we're doing all those things. And part of this is testing. It's not just the equipment. We really need to work together to build the capacity to test. Or we're not going to be able to give our citizens the confidence they need to go back to work. They're not going to have the confidence we need them to have to go back to school or to go back to the store or to go back to worship. So all those things are really important. And by working together, we can pool our financial resources, which are really important and significant. As you pointed out, Governor Cuomo, we can actually pull the brain power that exists, the great institutions in our areas, and the manufacturers who can make this stuff. All of that we can pull together, and if we can do that with even with something as difficult as testing, I think we're going to make sure that we get through this in the best possible way. So thank you for pulling us together. This is really important, and I'm proud to be with you.
Thank you, Governor Wolf, and you're so right. Look, we're creating in some ways new industries, right? Whoever heard of the testing industry or the tracing industry, or these reagents that all these tests now use? Even the demand on PPE. I mean, this is a whole new world for all of us. But there's also an economic opportunity in it, and we should take advantage of it because we need it, and it's not going away, and it's going to be a major industry going forward. So let's make sure it happens here. But Tom, thank you very much. Thank you for all the help, and thank you for everything you're doing. Really, you're an inspiration to all of us. Thank you, Tom. And we have Governor John Carney with us from Delaware. John, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you for all the help. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for the friendship through all of this, which is also very important. Just the personal support is important as we're going through this as colleagues. Thanks for being with us today, John.
Yeah, thank you, Governor Cuomo, for including Delaware in this coalition. Thank you for your great leadership there in the state of New York, and particularly Metro New York City with your colleague governors on either side of you. You're an inspiration, frankly, to all of us. Our hearts go out to you as we see the numbers. I was really happy to see your numbers on the chart at the beginning of your conference today as they trend downward. That's really a very good and positive thing. And thanks for including us, a state of, we like to refer to ourselves as a state of neighbors. There's just shy of 1 million Delawareans here on the southern end of this geographic coalition on this side of I-95 and the Amtrak Northeast Corridor, which connects all of us. The two governors at the bottom of my screen are great partners, Governor Wolf and Governor Murphy on either side of the state of Delaware, really important, our coordination and collaboration. But this particular initiative with respect to purchasing together PPE, and most importantly, I think, as Governor Wolf mentioned, testing equipment and capacity is so incredibly important for a small state like ours to have the purchasing power. Governor Cuomo of New York and New Jersey and Connecticut and Pennsylvania and Massachusetts and Rhode Island is just so incredibly important for us in terms of getting the right pricing. And if we're going head to head with New York, we're not going to get it. We're not going to get it. If we're along shoulder to shoulder with you and with Governor Murphy and Governor Wolf, we've got a good chance of getting a better price and getting the product that we need. And I think through all this too, the other thing that was really interesting to me in joining the coalition was just all the assets that the other states can bring to the table in terms of intellectual capacity, your research institutions, your hospitals, because we know that there are going to be breakthroughs, or we hope, in testing and other kinds of technology that help us as we respond to this. So I couldn't be happier to be part of this coalition, a part of your leadership team, Governor Cuomo, with, again, my two neighbors here in the southern end of our coalition, and to each of you, thanks for the great work that you're providing to the citizens of your state. I tell people all the time, it's going to be way harder, the decisions we have to make in reopening our economies in phases, than it was shutting things down, in my view, just because of the balance we need to strike there. And we will do that working together and with the expertise that this coalition and the purchasing power in particular of this initiative will bring to the state of Delaware. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you, Governor Carney. And Governor Carney's right. It was easier to shut down than it's going to be to reopen. Shutting down was, you walk into the basement, you take the power switch, and you just go from on to off, right? There was an urgent need. It was an emergency. Reopening is more of an art form. And I thank my gubernatorial colleagues for doing this together. We also have Governor Raimondo from the state of Rhode Island and Governor Baker from the state of Massachusetts who are part of the coalition. You go through situations in life which are unexpected. Okay, you do your best, and then you learn from them, and you grow. And that's what we're trying to do here today.